And after doing a lot of research, I needed to redo our fence around this entire 12 acres. And there were a lot of zigzags because of our houses and our business and such. And so here's what I ended up going with. I talked to a lot of people and I ended up going with this mesh wire right here. This is called a power fence. It's a manufacturer up in Kansas. And so it has a little bit bigger gaps. It's all high tensile wire. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 strands. And I think the first ones are 4-inch, then 4-inch, 4.5, 4.5, something like that. But they're a little bit wider gaps. However, I was doing it by myself, so they were a lot lighter than the thicker, taller ones, and they're only 36 inches tall. And but anyways, I rolled it out. It seemed to work pretty well. I had the sheep in here a few weeks, hadn't had any problems whatsoever, except for they like to scratch their wool off or their hair off. And then what I did was I have a high tensile wire that runs around the entire property. You can kind of see here around this corner post, and we use that to connect our fences. And I used the gripples, which work really well, especially if you're not a pro fencer like I'm not. So I was able to go around the whole place, and these individual gripples are nice because I have a tool and you can tighten each of these wires up individually. So that's one of the challenges when you do this mesh wires, to get them all individually exactly the same tension. But with that, you can set the tension, and then that way each wire is the right tension. And then if one gets a little loose or you have a problem, you can just use your tool and tighten it right back up. And then when I got to the corners, I just did this. I used a gripple, and then I did use one of the crimps to connect to the main wire, and then use that, went down, and I ended up just putting in some PEX to go under the ground for a little ways. It comes back over on this side, then up here, and then it connects, and that's the fence. And then of course it connects with another crimp right there, and then it just runs down to the next corner on down there and on around. And then that way I can connect all the way around the property my poly braid wires that I'll show you some of those later. I can connect them to this top wire that's a hot wire. But the main reason I went with this bottom wire, honestly, economically, this wire was only, I want to say, for 300 feet, it was only $165. I had to buy a whole pallet, 12 rolls, but $165, $70 I think it was, for a 330-foot roll, which I didn't really want to go 48 inches, because if I would have went 48 inches, I would have been all the way up to where my wire is up here, and my hot wire would have been way up here. So since I just wanted to go 36 inches with my mesh, and then I came up another, whatever that is, 8-10 inches up here for my hot wire that goes on around, because I don't plan on putting anything in here but sheep. But honestly, after I got it up, I would put anything. I'd put our horses back in here, and